common sense would be banning billionaires from buying elections.
I know a billionaire hates to see Graham Platner coming. The dust is settling from the barrage of hit pieces sent his way, and now the demons are all gearing up for the big fight. What they don't realize is Platner might have some help coming from the literal other side of the country, but not fast enough for the nearly 100 billionaires that are coming out and giving Collins an amount of money that'll make your blood pressure spike.
Right now, 73-year-old Senator Susan Collins is trying to get a sixth term in the Senate, like most people in Congress. She's also a multimillionaire. So how did Susan Collins make her money?
Susan Collins has gotten 21 times wealthier just in the last 15 years.
We ran the numbers, and though Susan Collins had a negative net worth in 2011, she married the COO of a lobbying firm in 2012 and began disclosing wealth from his dozens of stocks and bonds. Soon, she was a multimillionaire. A conservative estimate of her net worth in 2025 puts her at $3.7 million, but it could be as high as $9.8 million. Yes, her assets have soared to 21 times what they were in 2011. So let's take a look together at her and her spouse's investments. Keep in mind, she voted against the Inflation Reduction Act for the Keystone Pipeline, mandatory gas leasing, and expanding offshore drilling, while having stock in oil and gas companies like ConocoPhillips, Phillips 66, NextEra Energy, and Linde plc.
This race clearly has the billionaires spooked the most. There's something about Graham Platner that really scares them. I wonder what it is. My guess is that taxing the rich and ending forever wars doesn't go well with this list of ghouls. There are some big names on this list of billionaires and their spouses who have given money to re-elect Collins, including Ken Griffin, Alex Karp, Charles Schwab, Mark Andreessen, even Melinda Gates. So that should tell you that there's no such thing as a good billionaire. They're getting together like the Sinister Six, except there's 100 of them and they're all richer than Batman. They're going so far as to send TMZ-style paparazzi to harass Platner in the street. I don't know how Graham resists the urge to tell this little twerp to shove it. His voice is so grating.
Do you stand behind your comments that a wounded American soldier didn't deserve to live? Graham Platner, do you stand behind your comments that a wounded American soldier didn't deserve to live? Do you still feel that way, Graham Platner? Why did you cheat on your wife, sir? Do you think Mainers can trust that? Why were you using an app commonly used by pedophiles named Kick, Graham Platner?
Crooked Collins is still trying Plan A, beating these allegations over the head like they owe her something. But she must be insane because she's tried it God knows how many times now, and for some reason, she thinks doing it again is going to work.
Senator, Graham Platner hasn't really addressed the controversy surrounding him, and the liberal corporate media is kind of giving him a pass. But don't Mainers deserve to know?
They certainly do deserve to know. We have seen serious allegation after serious allegation against Mr. Platner, and he's just blowing them up and refusing to answer.
He's answered and explained a million times, and the worst of it is nothing compared to Collins confirming Brett Kavanaugh. The establishment is desperate to make Platner seem like the worst thing to ever walk the earth after Barack Hussein Obama. The sentient slug, also known as John Fetterman, is getting so Trumpian that even Fox News is having to tell him to cool it with the lies.
A behavior overall. And even when he was just newly wed, just last year, he was sending these kind of pictures and engaging in these kinds of conversations.
Well, Senator, we haven't confirmed that. Yeah, we haven't confirmed. Fox has not confirmed, just to be clear, that he sent these pictures. But
he has. Yeah, well, I mean, you're right. You're right.
There's no way they think that this looks good for the Republicans, right? They must be aware of the fact that pointing out Graham is an outsider with an imperfect past, like all of us, doesn't exactly mean we don't like him. And in the end, all they're doing is putting more eyes on this message.
Hey everyone, it's Graham Platner up in Maine here. You've probably heard a lot about this race recently. In fact, you've probably heard an absurd amount. And yet, one of the things you probably haven't heard anything about is the actual issues. You probably haven't heard about my healthcare plan, Or how Susan Collins voted to strip Medicare and Medicaid funding just to back tax cuts for billionaires and corporations. You probably haven't heard about the fact that I want to cut the gas tax. Susan Collins has defended it. You definitely haven't heard about the millions of dollars being spent in this state by out-of-state super PACs and billionaires just to talk about gossip. They want this race to be about anything but what it's supposed to be about, which are the issues, the material realities that working Mainers face every single day. And so I urge you, go to our website, look at my policy page, and then go look at Susan Collins' voting record and vote accordingly.
Someone wake up Bob Dylan, because the times are changing. One of the worst Supreme Court decisions ever is finally being challenged by Hawaii. It's taken this long, but it looks like they might have a serious chance at overturning Citizens United.
Hawaii is not waiting for permission, not following the lead of others. We are leading. We are making history by restoring a fundamental truth. Power belongs to people, not corporations.
This is a very big deal. Hawaii just did something remarkable and genuinely historic. It passed a bill into law with near unanimous bipartisan support that effectively bans corporations from spending money to influence state elections. And it did this by redefining what powers a corporation actually has.
Hopefully, by the time this lawsuit ricochets all the way to the top, we've already stuffed that Supreme Court like a holiday turkey. The lawsuit originally comes from the owner of this cringe-worthy Instagram account, Grassroot Institute of Hawaii, which sounds like they're grassroots progressives, right? But really, it's an attempt to hide their hyper-capitalist aim. You can kind of tell based on the subject of these posts, but it's most clear in the language of the lawsuit itself. They claim that because the government cannot deny a benefit to a person on the basis that it infringes his constitutional protected interests, especially his interest in freedom of speech, that they are now the victims of Act 11, which was passed by the people of Hawaii. They claim the people are threatening corporations and other organizations with dissolution and other penalties if they engage in constitutionally protected political speech. So, what gender is the Grassroot Institute of Hawaii exactly? Because in the Constitution and in this court case, they're using gendered pronouns here. They could have put they or it or whatever would convey a so-called artificial person, but they used he, implying a man, implying a human, implying not a fucking corporation. And this is why Graham is going to win, because we the people are sick of this shit.
All of this has happened not because it was natural, not because it had to, but because of policy choices. Policy choices made by establishment politicians in the service of the people that donated the most money to them. It is a system that has been built to extract wealth and labor and time and energy out of working people to fill the pockets and the bank accounts of those who had enough already. And it needs to end.
Corporations aren't people, and greed isn't good. It's time that we overturn 80 years of capitalist dogma. Subscribe to U.S. Democratic Socialists. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.